Hey guys, welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. Hope everyone's having a great one. For this week's weekly events, we have World Quests will be one of them, and Torghast. We are gonna have our very first Torghast special event this week. So there's 3 possible special events for Torghast, and I am going to go over them, just not in this section of the video. It will be more in the news section, just so I don't confuse people that just want to know what's going on this week. So this week's Torghast special event is called the Beasts of Paragon, and I did my research so I can tell you exactly what's going to go on for it. So basically what happens with the Beasts of Paragon event is that your first anima power when you do Torghast will allow you to control a maw beast, a very powerful one, and he fights along your side during Torghast, and that is the special event. So this week, is a good time to do Torghast, I guess. I know a lot of you guys don't like Torghast, but this, if you're having trouble soloing, this could be what helps you get past some of those solo layers. And for those that want to know a little more on this, I also did find out what the beasts are that you can get. So you have a chance of Horgul. He is a shadow dog, very powerful, and he will stun and taunt enemies for you. There's also Naltari, which is a soul hunter, and he will be able to use Howl and increase combat capabilities. Valiok, which is a soul eater, he does AoE damage and silences enemies. So those are the 3 different ones you can have. Also, I have found some powers that were data mined. This is the list, so feel free to pause the video if you want. I'm not going to go over every single one of them, but they're all there. And yeah, like I said, just pause and you can read through all the powers for that. So that is this week's stuff. Like I said, I am gonna go over the other 2 possible Torghast weekly events that you can get. The next one's in February, and then we're gonna see the 3rd one in March. But that will be in another section, so either keep watching the video to find out about that, or just go into the description of this video. I'll have the time stamp in there for you. Okay, so that is all that's going on for this week. Okay, so as far as progression goals and all that, you are looking at it right now. This is my goal right now. This is Twisting Corridors. We just got access to it, and it is long, and I do not suggest soloing it. As you see, you're looking at the solo. It was such a rip, and I'm an OP character. I do good in Torghast, and I got to floor 11 or 12, and yeah, what ended up happening is I had taken so many deaths that, the guy that chases you after so many deaths, he didn't find me, but I discovered that if he makes it all the way to the end of the, the layer, then that's a rip as well. He doesn't have to actually find you. He just has to make his way to the end of the level before you do, and boom. So that really sucked. I got to layer 11 and it just booted me out the Torghast. So my suggestion is that you go in with a group, which is what I did after this. So it was a nice little experience, nice challenge. There was the second boss here, which you probably will see during this video. He was like a nightmare to fucking kill by myself. He was really tough. Really tough. I did get him killed, but due to the deaths I took leading up to that to the boss kill, I was screwed at that point. Like, yeah. But if you go in with a group, it's a lot better. When I went in with a group, I was like, damn, this is easy, you know? So yeah, no longer is grouping up the harder one. In the beginning it was, before they'd done their nerfs and all that, going in solo was easier than going in with a group, and now it's definitely the opposite. Going in with a group is a lot easier. So I did that, but even with going in with a group, layer 1 still took like 2 hours. So, because layer 1 is 18 floors. So it did still take quite a bit for the group. Now, for those that are wondering what Twisting Corridor is it is for collectors. So if you don't care about toys, mounts, or pets, do not even do this. It's a waste of your time. There's no soul ash in it. So definitely avoid this if you only care about your soul ash for your legendary. But if you do like collectibles, basically how it works is each layer is an achievement. And layer 2 achievement will get you the Death Seeker Battle Pet. And then you can keep progressing, get your layer 4 achievement, and that is going to get you the toy, which is the Helm of the Dominated. And then layer 6 will issue a title, and that title is Spire Stalker. And then the layer 8 achievement is the one that gets you the mount. That would be the Corridor Creeper mount. He is one of 2 mounts that you can use in the Maw. And honestly, he's the easier one because if you do layer 8, then you just get the mount. There's no percentage to it or RNG or any of that shit. You just complete the achievement and you have it. So he is definitely the easier one. I say easier because of that, but the progress to get to layer 8 is gonna be time consuming. If you do the math, it took 2 hours with a group to do layer 1, and we were all doing really good. There was good damage going on, there was a couple of stops here and there because the pally in the group wanted to wait for all of his cooldowns, but which would have been fine if it had been bosses, but with a trash and a boomkin that has convoke, you just don't need to wait on every cooldown for the trash. But if you do the math, you're looking at roughly 16 hours to get everything done. So my plan is I felt pretty exhausted after layer 1. So I didn't do another one that day. So my plan is just to do 1 per day. And then I'll get the mount. So I probably won't see the mount till end of this week. But that's the way I'm going to do it, and that would be my suggestion to you. But if you can handle a couple of layers, if you're not quite bored after the first, 18 floors, then by all means keep going. But for me, yeah, I just like to do some Torghast. I don't like to dedicate my entire day of playing to Torghast only. So once again, collectors only for Twisting Corridors. And I highly suggest a group. Highly, highly suggest. the feeling of getting all the way to floor 11 or 12 by myself and then just ripping the entire layer was not a great feeling. It sucked, guys. So my personal suggestion is don't get that feeling. Don't experience what I experienced there. 18 floors is a lot. The bosses are tough when you are by yourself. And so definitely do it with a group. Doesn't have to be a full group. My group was only 4 of us. I felt like we could easily have even 3-manned it, at least for layer 1. I guess we'll see as the layers go. But for the lower layers anyway, you could easily go in with just a few people. So, but I would definitely suggest 3 to 5 for sure. So that has been what I'm doing. Last week's goal was for me to catch up on Renown, because I had told you guys last week that I had skipped 1 week. It was Christmas week. And that day that you guys saw the video where I said I was going to spend this week catching it up, I actually caught it up that day, the day that video posted. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought that was going to be all week I was going to be working on that. And I literally got 6 Renown levels in one day. So yeah, I was caught up. I'm caught up right now. So definitely as someone who's experienced it, so definite proof here. But if you fall behind, don't worry. You're going to catch up. It's all through the callings, and it's super easy. They just keep giving you Renown as the reward until you're caught up, basically. And yeah, it is super easy. So if you got somewhere to be, don't be like, oh shit, I need my Renown though. Like, don't even worry about it. It's so easy. And that has been, basically my progression and goals. So this week's goals is going to be to continue Torghast. The full week, the goal is to get all of it done. We'll see what happens, because I can only handle 1 layer a day when it comes to the 18 floor layers. And if I happen to skip a day, that might mean that the mount doesn't get done till a little later, but we'll see. And, one other thing to add in this is I'm kind of glad that it is kind of a blah week, with only World Quest and Torghast special event being the weekly, because this is also the week that I go to jury duty. So that is one day that not as much gameplay will get done, because I'm pretty sure I'll be pretty exhausted by the time I get back, because I'm going to be there all day. And so I'm glad it's a week of events that I really don't care about. And also, one accomplishment that I did do this past week was in the Mount Run stream, actually. After I had ran all my alts through the Midnight Run, I decided to go do my Hellfire and Blackrock, and I actually got the mount from the Hellfire Run. So I looted the Felsteel Annihilator. I put a stream highlight video on the channel, so I will link that in the description in case you want to check it out. But yeah, so that was cool. That is a 90 attempt mount farm right there. I only farm it on my 1 character because I refuse to bring my other alts in there for skips. And that's a why, honestly. I had contemplated bringing some more alts into, like, getting them to have the skips to run them weekly as well. But by the time I thought of that for those runs, I was high attempts. It's same with Blackrock. I'm still working on that one, but I'm 87 attempts on that one. Not even gonna bother. I'd rather just run it with the 1 character. But But yeah, that was super awesome. Yeah, I was really surprised to see that one drop. So let's move on to news. Okay, so the first thing I thought we would start with is some mounts that have been starting to get farmed because we're progressing a little more in Shadowlands. And those are, well, one is the Sundancer. I'm sure you guys have seen, maybe even tried to farm it yourself. Not a whole lot of people would have been farming it because you need the Skystrider glider to get to the Sundancer mob. And then you need to have Path of Ascension building to rank 3, which is why it's taken so long for people to farm it, because we're waiting on that, right? And now people are at the point where they're starting to get those rank 3s. And then you just progress into the Path of Ascension until you unlock Calistine, Trowel of Wisdom. Defeat Calistine, and you'll get the blueprint for the Skystrider glider, and then you can use the Ascension Craft to create the glider. It takes 6 Elysian feathers, 4 champion pelts, 2 Nightforged steel, and 4 Kalau's bone. So if you're collecting that stuff, you might want to keep that on hand. And if you are not carrying, you can actually buy these off the auction house. So if you are carrying, this is going to be a moneymaker right here. You could pretty much charge whatever the hell you want for the first little bit for those gliders. So expect those to be pretty pricey. But you don't need to be carrion to go after Sundancer. You just need to have that glider that a carrion makes. So that has been, starting to get farmed because of people getting rank 3s on their Path of Ascension building. The next mount we're going to talk about is the Armored Bonehoof Tauralus. Now, this one is over in Maldraxxus, and also has to do with a level 3. So basically it's the Anima Conductor. You get the Anima Conductor to level 3 for Necrolord, and once you do that, the Conductor can be channeled into Theater of Pain, and there'll be a chance that Drolkrad will be the challenger that gets picked, and when he is picked, Sabriel the Bone Cleaver will spawn with him, and defeating him has a chance to drop the mount. Also, defeating him is part of Adventure of Maldraxxus as well, if you are working towards that. So those are the 2 mounts I just thought I'd mention in this week's video. Also worth noting that it does seem to be Necro only for this second mount here. So keep that in mind as well. Also, you can choose the alternative of just buying it off the vendor. Getting the Conductor to level 3 is going to cost you a pretty little penny. You might want to just save that currency. And also, kind of backtracking here a bit, but going back to the Sundancer, hopefully that price will drop for non-Curians. Because the glider that can be bought off the auction house, it, at the time of recording this video, is anywhere between 50k to 300k, which is kind of ridiculous considering it's, one use as far as I know. So keep that in mind as well. This might be one of those mounts that if you're not Curian, you either go make a Curian to make the glider, or you just say fuck it and wait till later when prices have dropped. Because that kind of money for one attempt on a mount, Yeah, like me personally, I'm not gonna spend any money. Like, unless that glider is like 5 gold or something, I'm not spending any money on a glider to get a mount that has a low percent chance and I could very, very possibly not loot it. Next up in news, I thought we'd go over Paragon rewards because people have been starting to get exalted now, so Paragons have opened up. So let's go over the rewards. So if you get a Paragon cache with the Ascended, you have a chance to get the Alarion Cub, and you can also get the toy Malfunctioning Goliath Gauntlet. The Paragon cache for Court of Harvesters will get you the Stoneskin Dreadwing Pup. The Paragon cache for Undying Army will get you Micromancer. You'll also get a toy, Infested Arachnid Casing, and there is also a mount that can drop from it as well, called the Reigns of the Colossal Slaughterclaw. The Paragon cache for Wild Hunt will get you the Battle Pet Hungry Boreo. Okay, tongue twister. Burrower. Okay, got it. And you can also get the mount Amber Ardenmoth. So those are the Paragon caches that are available at the moment. They work the same as previous expansion Paragon caches, where it's 10,000 to earn them, and it's a chance. Nothing guaranteed, just a small percentage that you may get that item. So these are Paragon caches you're going to be farming for the next 2 years. Okay, so as promised, I have left the last piece of news to be dedicated to the Torghast stuff that I mentioned earlier in the video. I would let you know on. So this week's event is Beast of Paragon. And once again, I will go over that quickly just for the people that maybe just click timestamps. Maybe there's some people that just cared about this one thing. So, Beast of Paragon. Your first anima power from Torghast will allow you to control a powerful maw beast. And they can be either Horgul, who is a shadow dog, stunts and taunts enemies. Neltaria is a soul hunter, does howl and increases the allies' combat capabilities. And then there's Valiok, who is a soul eater that does AoE damage and silence enemies. On screen here, I have displayed the current data mine powers that, will be available with this week. So that's Beasts of Paragon. Scheduled for this week, and it is the first time we are seeing any special event. The next Torghast special event is called Chorus of Dead Souls. We will see this one on February 9th. Basically what happens with this one is that your first Maw power chest allows you to assume the form of a Dead Soul Chorus, which grants you abilities. We haven't seen the Maw power chest, but I'm sure when that week comes, we will see it and we'll know what it is, right? So while you're in this form, your party members can right-click you to join your form and cast on the move. And that form is called Howling Soul Core. So while you're in this form, you have 50% increased damage and healing, and you also have 20% increased movement speed. And here's a list of the data mined anima powers that are associated with the Chorus of Dead Souls special event. And once again, we will see this event in February. Okay, and the third and final Torghast special event is called Unbridled Darkness. And we will see this one on March 9th. Okay, so this is another Maw power chest. So this grants you Vial of Darkness that you can activate. Using it turns your screen completely dark and you can't see your surroundings. So while you're under the effect of Unbridled Darkness, you gain large combat bonuses. Subsequent Maw powers enhance your combat bonuses, or they can modify the darkness. So it's a buff which removes your vision in exchange for damage and movement bonuses. Now, there are several ways of gaining Unbridled Darkness, and I have screenshotted it so that you can, pause and check it out here. Didn't really feel like going over all of it. So, definitely pause, read, and yeah. Also, I have screenshotted the anima powers that will be associated with Unbridled Darkness. And so that is the 3 special events for Torghast. They work like weekly events, so they will hit on a reset day and run all week. The first one we have this week. The second one we have on February 9th. And the third one we will have on March 9th. And I'm sure they will continue to cycle. Just those are the first days we will see those events. So, yeah, I actually am pretty interested in Unbridled Darkness. I think taking a negative and having a positive is very interesting. Yeah, I like challenges like that. I think it's going to be a nightmare for a lot of people, but I do like the aspect of walking in blind, literally, because you can't see shit, right? So I definitely like that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we gotta wait till March for that one. Okay, so that concludes the news. One last thing for our video is our member-only Q&A. So for this week's Q&A, we have Arsenal asking, if you were focused to main another race/class, what would it be and why? Honestly, I can't imagine maining anything other than a druid. Maybe that's just because I've been maining it since 2004, but for the sake of answering this question, there is 2 in mind, Hunter and Paladin. However, if it was the Hunter, you know what? It would most definitely be the Hunter. The reason being is that if we're going to talk race and class, my high level Paladin's on Horde for a good reason. And it's because other than the recent, Dark Iron Dwarfs on Alliance side, I've always just preferred a Blood Elf Paladin, But I'm going to answer this based on what we know, and that's that I would never choose Horde as a main. I've been Alliance main for 16 years. So the answer to that is Hunter. But if there was a better race, in my opinion, for a Paladin, it probably would be Paladin, because I like the whole, being able to be a tank, DPS, and heals together, right? But since that's not the case, since there's no race that the Paladin can be that's good enough in my eyes to actually have it be the main character, the main character would be my Void Elf Hunter. My Void Elf Hunter on Alliance side has become like my second favorite character. So definitely, with that long explanation, but you guys know me, I'm not a yes or no type answer here. But with that long explanation, final answer, Void Elf Hunter. And he also asks why. I think I've explained why, though. It is my second favorite character. Hunters are great for soloing things, and I like to play the game by myself most days. Like I am not what you call a sociable person in WoW. I raid with a group because I have to raid with a group to progress. Literally the only reason. I love raiding, and if I could raid solo, I would, but that's not the way the game works. And same with Mythic Pluses, like, don't get me wrong, I like hanging with people every so often, but I am mainly a solo player when it comes to WoW. And so having a hunter, you can do pretty much everything with a hunter. Get your pet to taunt and you sit back, do the damage. I like being ranged, so the hunter's a good one for that. And that's basically my reasons. And I'm really loving the Void Elf. I know the Void Elf kind of looks like the Blood Elf, and yeah, I get that. It's just like the Blood Elf looks like the fucking Night Elf. Like the good elf is the Night Elf because that's the beginning one, the original elf. But the Void Elf, I really like the Void Elf characters. I almost feel like, okay, for me personally, my favorite race on Alliance side is Night Elf, and my favorite race on Horde side is the Blood Elf. So with the Void Elf, it's almost like I get best of both worlds. I get the two combined into one, and it's I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, that's my reasoning. And speaking of the Void Elf Hunter, she is one of the alts being leveled currently. I've got a few on the go, but she is one of them being leveled in Shadowlands right now. I'll probably have some more streams on her soon. So I hope you enjoyed the WoW Weekly with Myst this week, guys. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.